We got to start with the Premier League. Despite the break, nothing much changes, does it? The officials are still terrible, and Arsenal are even worse. Frank Leboeuf, Shaka Hislop, and Craig Burley with me. Craig, let's start, shall we, with Manchester City against Arsenal. It went pretty much exactly as you would expect it to.
Well, yeah, but Mikel Arteta wouldn't have been expecting such an early injury and having to bring David Luiz on. But, you know, David Luiz was true to form. He was a shambles. Listen, I don't think this would have been much of a game, to be quite frank, 11v11. I think it was heading that way anyway. His mistake and then he's sending off just absolutely put the final nail in the coffin. Look, we said it before the lockdown, we were, you know, red in the face. Arsenal need a massive overhaul. They've got some good young kids, got some decent young kids. They've got a lot of dead wood there. They've got a lot of dead wood on big money, and Arteta needs to get them out. It's a heck of a job he's got on his hands.
Talk to me about David Luiz, Frank.
Well, it's sad because when you're a defender, you don't want to see that, and it's appalling in another way because we know that he conceded 4 penalties and was is the most player was involved in bigger errors during the Premier League season. So you're sad, and I would rather talk about De Bruyne was really the man of the match. But it's true that he made 2 big mistakes who allowed Manchester City to score 2 goals. And I think he doesn't see Raheem Sterling. Even when he made the foul, we can see him turning and realizing that Raheem Sterling is just behind him. I mean, I always thought that David Luiz was a good player, a great player, but not a defender. He's a midfield player. He doesn't want to make sure that you defend well first, and then you think about enjoying life. It's what you have to do. Is your first function when you are a defender. You make sure you clear the 16-yard box and you don't play with the ball.
Shaka, how will you feel if you're his teammate, considering he comes on and does all of this?
Listen, I really don't know. It seems we're having this discussion about David Luiz, well, if not every weekend, far too often. For Arteta, it was an awful day for him. You lose 2 players through injury, and now David Luiz comes in and does as he does. I can say tongue-in-cheek, maybe David Luiz not being available for the next 3 weeks kind of balances things out because he's been that poor. At least Arteta wouldn't have to answer to those upstairs as to why he's leaving David Luiz out. And he'll have to call on some of his young and up-and-coming players. But it's not the start that Arsenal wanted. Surprise, surprise. You have to put this behind you. Somehow, Arsenal are leaving everybody scratching their heads as to how they can be this poor.
One second, Dan. Let's cut through the mustard here. David Luiz shouldn't be at that football club, right? That's the problem. Mustafi shouldn't be at that football club. There's an argument to say Shaka shouldn't be at that football club. Not good enough. Mesut Ozil, you're just about to get to him, shouldn't be at that football club. But some clown gave him a 300,000 plus a week contract, right? For a guy who's been a liability. They've made bad signings. They've made bad decisions, right? That's the bottom line. Now they've got a young, inexperienced manager who's been in the game a long time, but not in management. And he's left with this. And he's going to be questioned. And his reputation is going to be on the line. I mean, what the hell was wrong with Lacazette? I mean, if it's a fitness issue, I get it. If he's carrying a knock, I get it. But is he not a better option? As good as Nketiah is as a youngster, is he not a better option to be playing from the start? All these decisions at this football club need to be questioned. But David, and wait to hear this, there was a story 24 hours ago, this is incredible, that Arteta wanted to be given David Luiz a new contract, seeing him as a role model, seeing him as a key part of helping. I mean, it's just incredible. Just incredible the amount of bad wood and bad apples and dead wood, they have at this football club. And until they sort it, they're nothing more than mid-table mediocrity.
Craig, you mentioned Mesut Ozil. Arteta said after the game his decision not to include him in the squad was tactical.
I mean, I've never heard anything so stupid in all my life, apart from that alarm going off in the background, whoever that is. I just don't get it. It's not tactical. Yes, he wasn't going to play away at Man City. And that, in a nutshell, tells the story, right? He's not going to play. But at least if you've got a guy who can potentially change a game, if Arsenal were to hold Man City to a 0-0, for 75 minutes or something like that you could bring on and he could maybe open the door. So don't tell me it's tactical. You're making yourself look stupid, right? It's not tactical. He's a waste of space these days, right? But they've lumbered themselves with this player. I would prefer if Mikel Arteta come out and said, do you know what? I'm not going to get from Arteta what I need. So I've left him in London. I've left him back there, and I'd rather bring the kids. I would respect him more if he said that. But don't come out and tell us it's tactical, because that's nonsense.
Shaka?
Dan,
I
I
totally agree with Craig.
Add
Especially when you consider there's 5 substitutes now after the break. So to suggest that Leboeuf is allowed because it's tactical when you have so many more cards that you can play depending on how the game goes, it's simply ridiculous.
Go on, Frank.
Yes, I just want to add something on Craig and Shaka are saying. You know, that club dropped so much in the level of how do you say, being competitor and being able to fight in the top 4. I mean, I played against Arsenal. I played against the Gunners. I mean, that's such a great club, and I see some players who don't deserve to be in that club. And you have to say thanks Leno in goal, because it could have been like 7 or 8-0. Even first half 4-0. So that's not Arsenal that we used to know. That's not the level that the club should be. And as Craig said, that at first it needs to be changed at some point.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.